Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Miss Ryder and I talk about all things motorbikes. Sometimes I talk about other stuff, but most of the time it is something to do with motorbikes. Today we are talking about things that I wish I knew before I started riding a motorbike, because obviously my community on here is mainly motorbike related, even if it's someone who wants to get one in the future or already has one or is just beginning to ride. So I feel like this is a very good topic to touch on. So getting a motorbike can seem pretty daunting at first because some people haven't even been taught how to ride a bicycle. So getting a motorbike, and wanting a motorbike and thinking that you can't ride it is completely normal. And there is plenty of people who are worried they won't make any friends, worried they won't be able to handle a bike, or worried they won't be able to ride like everyone else straight away. And that is a completely normal thing to worry about, but it's not something that I think should hold you back from ever getting a motorbike, because although there are a lot of risks with getting a motorbike, there is also a lot of pros with getting a motorbike. But I will not come on here and say that biking isn't dangerous and that it comes with no risk, because it does come with a lot of risks. Even if you're a good rider, you can still get very hurt because of other people on the road, or because of a mistake you might make on one day, like a tiny little mistake, or because even just like the road conditions, just anything really. I'm not trying to come on here and say that it isn't a dangerous hobby, because it is, but there is a lot of danger in everything we do in our lives, and I feel like not getting a motorbike, even if you want to, just because it's dangerous, is something you could possibly regret later in life. I know now that if I hadn't have got one, I think it would have been the biggest mistake of my life, because of how much biking did for me, how much it grew my confidence, how much it made me feel less lonely, how much it reduced the anxiety I have in my life, which I've had my entire life. So, yes, it is a dangerous sport. Yes, it does come with a lot of risks, but it also comes with a lot of pros. But this is the video for anyone thinking about getting a bike, who's got a bike and just started to begin riding, or even if you have been riding for a while and you just want to keep learning. But anyway, let's start with things I wish I knew before I started riding. So the first one is that you don't start confident, and that is completely normal. Everyone wobbles, everyone stalls, panics, junctions, everything like that. It comes with the learning. When I first started riding, I literally just rode my bike around by where I live, and I live on a hill. And the first time I had to stop at the, because it's got two roundabouts, and the first time I stopped on the hill before pulling out on the roundabout, I stalled and I thought the bike was broken. I couldn't, no matter what I did, I couldn't get it to go up the hill, because I didn't know how to do clutch control yet, because I didn't even have my car license. I still don't have my car license, so clutch control was something very, very new to me, and that's what happens when you first start to learn. And now, after 2 years, I think I've got clutch control pretty much down. I haven't stalled the bike I have now, apart from in my one video where my camera had come out and I just decided to take both my hands off the handlebars to try and fix it and forgot that I was in gear, so I stalled, obviously. But this is my point. You don't start with all that knowledge. You don't start with how to knowing how to do all this stuff, and that's fine. Nobody starts with that confidence. You start a bit panicky, you start a bit scared, but I think that makes learning and getting the hang of it a whole lot better, because once you've got the hang of it, or start to get the hang of it, it makes you want it even more. Confidence comes in layers. It doesn't come overnight. It comes with training, it comes with going out on the bike and just getting that experience. Even if you just take it to a car park and you just go around in circles, you just keep taking off from a stop so that you can learn your clutch control, or even if you just go back and forward on the clutch, which is how I learned clutch control, is that I literally just kept letting it in and out and in and out until I knew where the bike was and I knew I could do it. And even experienced riders still have off days. Even if they tell you they don't, that is a complete and utter lie, because everyone has off days. And it could be to do with just the way you're feeling on that day. It could be to do with the weather. It could be to do with the way that your bike is deciding to work that day. Everyone has off days, and that is completely fine. Number two is dropping your bike will probably happen. It happens to everyone. It's usually at a slow speed or stationary, especially if you're stationary on a hill, and maybe if you're not the tallest of people. Dropping your bike is a very likely thing to happen when you're new, or not even when you're new, but more when you're new, because you're still getting used to the weight of the bike and the way you got to hold it at lights and everything like that. But it happens to everyone. I have dropped the bike I have now on a hill. I stopped on a hill and I went to take off and didn't realise that I wasn't even in first, I was in neutral. So I obviously let off the clutch and I got ready to go, and then my Lego just popped off the top of my. He just decided to pop off my PC. I have him blue tacked to the top of my PC. I'm not entirely sure what I was just saying. It was just something about me dropping my bike, and it was because I thought I was in gear and I wasn't, and I went to take off and just dropped the bike. And then a biker who was in front of me in his car got out and helped me pick it up. And this hill was like straight up. I'm not even kidding. It's the steepest hill I've ever been up, and I don't go up there anymore because there is another way around that means I won't drop my bike every time I go up there. It is embarrassing. It's not dangerous in most situations, so I wouldn't worry about it, because as long as you're like, if you're stuck in traffic and you drop it at the lights, it's not dangerous unless you've got dickheads around you who decide that they're just not going to wait and they're going to go around you or start beeping or get aggressive or whatever. But most of the time it's not dangerous. It is embarrassing, but that's just what happens, and it's not the end of the world. You will probably drop it at some point, and if you do, then just know that literally every other biker will agree that they've probably dropped their bike at least once in their life. It doesn't mean that you're a bad rider. It doesn't mean anything about your experience or your ability to ride. Dropping your bike has nothing to do with that. So I wouldn't even worry about thinking that you're a bad rider. It just means that you're still getting used to the bike, or it just means that you were on a slope and it was worse than you thought, or it means that, like me, you were in gear when you weren't in gear when you thought you were in gear and you end up dropping the bike. It means nothing about your ability to ride. So if you decide one day that you wanted to post something about you dropping your bike and there's loads of haters in the comments being like, you shouldn't be on a bike, you shouldn't be on a bike, just tell them to shut the fuck up, because it means nothing about ability to ride, and if they say it is, then they clearly aren't very good bikers, are they? So yes. Then third thing is slow speed control is harder than speedy control, especially U-turns or filtering or traffic or parking. Slow speeds are so much harder than speedy maneuvers because it does get wobbly. The way I was taught is you only use your clutch and your back brake and your accelerator a little bit, if at any at all, but your back brake is what keeps you balanced when if you're not going too slow. If you're going like 2 miles an hour, then that you're gonna have to go a bit quicker than that, maybe like 4 or 5 miles an hour. But your back brake is what keeps the bike from wobbling as much, but it still wobbles occasionally. And especially if you've got like a heavier bike, or like I said, you've never ridden any bike, it can feel really wobbly and it is hard. But practicing slow maneuvers helps more than going fast. I feel like riding slow is the best thing you can learn because it helps with everything else, and it helps you to learn how to control your bike. It helps you to learn about your bike, and it's just a lot more important, especially if you live somewhere where there's going to be traffic. Most people will encounter traffic at some point in their life, and you need to know how to slowly maneuver it. You can't just be like just like stopping and then going and then stopping and then going. It's easier if you just slowly move and you know how to do it. So yeah, slow speed control is hard, but once you've got the hang of it, it's like second nature. So number 4 is you will outgrow your first bike. I outgrew my first bike. Mine mainly, I loved my 125 for a long time, and I think it was just because of the freedom of it and just the feeling you get when riding a bike. And I only ever rode with other 125s, and then in July of last year, I met the friends I have now, and they all ride big bikes, apart from like one or two, but most of them ride big bikes. And when you're on a 125 riding with big bikes, it makes you want a big bike because you're just so much slower than them, and they have to keep stopping and waiting. They always waited, but it makes you want a bigger bike, especially considering my bike was a 125 and it was also broken, so it didn't go over 55 miles an hour most of the time. And it used to make me so angry because I was just so slow compared to everyone else. And I just wished that I could go faster all of the time. But the thing is, in the UK, you can't get bigger than a 125 until you're 19. And I got my moped when I was 16, got my 125 when I was 17, and then you have to wait 2 years to get your big bike. And I now have my big bike and I love it. And I might outgrow it one day, but at the moment I love it. But I've only had it for a few months, so that's probably why. But you will outgrow your first bike. Everyone who ever had a bike usually does because of other people, in my opinion, because the only reason you would ever think about wanting a bigger bike is if you've seen other people on a big bike, or you've just seen other big bikes and you're like, oh, I really want that. So it only comes from riding with other people or seeing other bikes, and wanting what other people have and wanting to be able to go that speed. Your dream bike might not suit you. Like, there is plenty of people who dream of getting like a CBR 600 RR, and then they get it and it's so uncomfortable that they end up selling it. I heard of a lot of people doing that. The speed is amazing, the look is incredible, but apparently, I'm quoting other people because I've never even sat on a 600 CBR, but apparently they are quite uncomfortable, and a lot of people sell them because if you're riding that all of the time, you want to be comfortable. So it is okay if your dream bike ends up not suiting you, and then you end up wanting something else, and that might be, you might get your dream bike as your first bike. In the UK, if you're under 19, you probably can't get your dream bike as your first bike. But if you end up getting your dream bike as your first bike and it's not what you hoped it would be, then you just want a different one. And as you grow in the community and you make friends, or don't make friends, and you just keep riding, it's okay to change bikes as you grow. That's just what happens. It's what happens with anything in life. You change your opinion on things, you change your what you want in life as you grow up and you mature more and you see more and you just like more, then you might want to change your bike, and that's fine. So that is all I have for today. That is on the riding reality checks. Let me know if you would like to see like a mental and emotional side of riding that I wasn't prepared for. But that is all for today. I hope you liked this video, and let me know down in the comments if you would like to see more like this. Thank you for watching. Bye.